Set up at the back of a sturdy chair and set up your standing neutral posture, finding a neutral pelvis and a neutral spine, settling the ribs in, shoulders back, and allowing for the head and neck to lift up tall towards the ceiling, rooting down through the legs. From here, we start off with heel lifts. Holding on as much as you need to the back of your chair, lift and lower your heels. We'll do 10 sets. Allow for the balls of the feet to push down into the floor, mobilizing and strengthening the feet, the ankles, and the calves are important for balance and coordination. Honing in on these skills keeps us from falling or helps us be more resilient to potential missteps. You have the option to hold your last heel lift and play with letting go a little bit of the chair just to challenge your balance a little bit further. Take a moment to rest and shake out the feet to release any sort of tension or stagnation that may have gotten released during our heel lifts. Next, we go into leg pumps. Simply bend your knees, reaching the knees forward towards the back of your chair, making sure they're tracking parallel. Glue the heels to the ground and keep your back straight. Hinging the hips back and forward while keeping the last bend in your knees. We'll challenge the hips and legs a little differently. Allow your hips to push straight back behind your heels and let your body tilt forward. Again, you always have the option to lighten your grip on the chair to challenge your balance a little bit. Simply reaching one arm to the side and then the other. Or you could work with reaching both arms off the chair and potentially forward. And through all of this, make sure you are still breathing. Next, we go into marching in place. Simply lift one knee up to the level of your hip, or if you need to lower the leg, keep the leg low. If you can bring the leg higher, see if you can bring the knee as high up towards your chest as you can. We want to make sure that we keep the hips level and square. The real magic happens from the grounding leg. Make sure to press your standing leg down into the floor very actively, and this is what allows for the moving leg to lift. Use your inner thighs to keep the leg tracking in line with your hip. Now turn sideways to the chair, and we'll work with moving the leg in its various directions, starting with moving the leg forward. Our legs within our hip sockets are meant to flex, extend, move sideways, move across, circumduct, and move with internal and external rotation. And we want all those ranges of motion available to us. Now moving the leg back, extending through a straight leg and a pointed foot. Keep your abdominals drawn in and up to resist from arching your low back. Now we'll move the leg sideways. You just want to brush your leg along the floor and to the side. Here we want to watch to keep the hip down and just move the leg. Return with your legs together and switch to the other side. Holding onto your chair for support, moving the leg first forward, about 5 to 10 times, and allowing for your standing leg to continue to root into the floor. Keep the body tall and upright. At any point in time, if you're feeling secure with your balance, you can always lighten your grip and see if you can challenge yourself with barely holding on to the chair. But first and foremost, make sure you feel safe. Turn back to face the back of your chair, and we go into leg circles or circumduction. You'll do 5 in each direction, just tracing the foot along the floor. Reversing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keeping the hips stable and steady. Other side, going forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice smooth circles, reversing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now finally you get to move your hips. So bend your knees and allow your hips to sway side to side, pushing your hips as much over from one side to the other as possible to get that nice slide and glide in your pelvis and hips. This will also release some tightness in the low back. Now, keeping with our side theme, we're going to take side steps. So from the center, step out one side, equalizing the weight between two legs, step back together, and then step out to the other side. In the center, straighten the legs, but as you step out to the side, bend the knees and allow your hips to sink down. This will create a nice warmth throughout the entire lower body. And now it gets really yummy with some hip circles. Allow for your hips to move around a couple of times in each direction. The knees are bent and the hips are moving with ease and fluidity. Continue to breathe deeply and relax any tension out of the jaw, neck, and shoulders. And taking heel lifts again, just like how we began. Check in to see how this feels now. Does it feel a little stronger, a little easier, a little more balanced, a little more effortless? Are you able to get the heels a little higher? We begin to cool down the body with prances, so alternating your heel lift and allowing for the straightened leg to drop its heel into the floor, while the bending leg really pushes the heel away from the floor and over the toes. Take the left heel back and extend the right arm up overhead. As you press your left heel into the floor, reach your right arm over to the left. Continue to breathe here, allowing the right side of your body to open up and the back of your left leg to open up, in addition to the left hip flexor. Switching to the other side, take the right leg back, ground the heel down into the floor and reach the left arm overhead. Option to add a side arch here, leaning over, bending over to the right side. You can also take your gaze down slightly to stretch a different part of your neck. Continue to breathe deeply and fully, and bring it all back to center, settling in for your last few breaths.